On one hand, email marketing is by far the most important and the most performant marketing weapon in the hands of any hotel marketer, and not only in the hotel industry. On the other hand, though, we need first to collect the email addresses of those we want to be communicating with, and thus having people subscribing to our hotel newsletter becomes the first important step. But how do we entice people to leave their email address so that we can communicate with them? And here lies the problem, in my opinion, because hotel newsletters are probably some of the most boring, yawning, and depressing lead magnets that the World Wide Web has ever seen. And I mean, let's be honest, let's look at this. Does this look like an enticing newsletter form? Billions of hotels all over the world offering so-called exclusive offers that are nothing but, let's say, X% off if they book direct. Any seasonal offer like a summer escape, winter escape, autumn escape, spring escape, or any special day like a New Year's Eve, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and so on and so forth. And maybe even Black Friday and Halloween and few more. But seriously, where is the deal? And so in this article, we're going to see how to make hotel newsletter forms more enticing, more exciting, and more importantly, more efficient for your hotel business in 5 steps. So this and more coming up, and let's dig in. Hey, my name is Ale and welcome to the Direct Your Bookings channel, where I share with hoteliers marketing tips, techniques and strategies to get more revenue and more bookings, and especially direct bookings. And so if you want to stay up to date with marketing, hotel marketing tips like the ones that I'm going to be sharing with you today, you might consider subscribing to this channel. Now let's get started and let's dig into today's topic. So before looking into what I believe a good hotel newsletter form should look like, let's see some example of how bad hotel newsletter form look like. And even though, as you can see, they might change from a look and feel perspective, in terms of message, they're pretty much the same, and they say the exact same thing. In other words, they say nothing, they give nothing, they offer nothing, just those so-called exclusive benefits or exclusive offers. When facing such forms, so probably the only reason for people to sign up, to subscribe to this newsletter is because they are a repeating guest, or they are to become a repeating guest, and therefore they want to make the most of those special offers. Otherwise, these forms, they simply look like the best way to commoditize a commodity. So bad examples are all over the places. It's much more difficult to find good examples. So how does a good newsletter form look like? And for example, it looks like this. There are so many reasons, and precisely 5 different reasons that will make this newsletter different and way better than the forms that we have seen before. And now in a moment, we're going to debug or to reverse engineer these 5 reasons. Reason number 1, name your newsletter. So what's the catch of giving your hotel newsletter a name? The difference between an unnamed and a named newsletter is the same difference that exists between the article A and the article the. A means one among many. The means the one and only. And so other than helping you getting more sign-ups, having a name or giving a name to your newsletter, it will help you get more relevant in your subscribers' inbox. And second of all, because simple as that, having a name means it's going to be easier to stick to and therefore to be remembered. And last but not least, especially if you're building a brand and if you're trying to build a community around your brand, well, giving it a name becomes of paramount importance. Reason number 2, give a face to your newsletter by showing your people. The web is full of stats and studies that confirm that people's, especially people's face, convert better than any other subject in your creatives. So why not using it? Why not using it to your advantage even in your newsletter? Plus, I like the idea of recognition, of participation, of involvement, and therefore you can use this slot in your newsletter to show each member of your staff one at a time. And so for example, week 1, you can show the photo of your night auditor. In week 2, you can show the photo of your bartender. In week 3, you can show the photo of your housekeeping manager, and so on and so forth. And if you think that a weekly turnaround probably is committing too much, well, then just do it on a monthly basis. I mean, nowadays, changing a photo on a hotel website that takes less time than for an Italian drinking a 3-shot espresso. And so why not doing it? But the point is it not even a way to get your staff involved? People like to participate. Your staff will love to participate in the whole business and not just for what it may concern to their role. Reason number 3, give it a why and a format. Now let's make it simple and let's see together this example. Why should people join this newsletter? To stay in touch or to keep in touch? I mean, there is no magic that will sell a boring service or a boring product. Boring is boring. Cool is cool, and no marketing initiative will ever make boring stand out. Now, these are giving a why to your newsletter, meaning reasons why people should join, is a 2-part task. The first part is to think what you can offer to engage and entice your prospects and customers. The second part is to deliver on the promises that you put in the statements. And at this point of the video, I think I'm going to be losing most of you, or at least a part of you, because this is where you will really need to put forth a big effort. You need to think and again think. What can you offer that is going to be so unique so that people can't help but join and subscribe to your newsletter? And probably you're going to be disillusioned that this is no marketing gimmicks, but I'm sorry, this is no marketing gimmicks. Reason number 4, use social proof. A primary need of every individual on the face of the earth is to do things that other people do, because it triggers that feeling of belonging. And so the most obvious, probably easiest social proof tool that you can use is your reviews, because people and your past customers leave reviews all over the places. It's the most obvious, but also I think the most inflated, because even the worst hotel in the world happen to have at least one positive review, and there are 4 reviews, at least in my opinion, and at least in the hotel industry, is not going to be so believable. Number 5, soften your call to action. In this article that I will point you in the description, that I wrote actually quite some years ago, I pointed out what was a case study, an A/B test from Google, where they compared 2 call to action: book now as opposed to check availability. With this last one, check availability, outperforming book now by a good 17% increase in the number of clicks. And the reason was pretty straightforward. The check availability is less committing than book now. And in the context of hotel newsletter, the CTA, the level of the CTA, of course, are different, but the principle remains the same. Now, sign up, subscribe, or join us sound way more committing than a very simple and casual and friendly try it out. As you can see, there is no big science. It's just a different structure behind this newsletter that is definitely going to be more enticing and more engaging as opposed to the average newsletter form that you can find on any hotel website. Just a couple of additional things that, in my opinion, are very important. Please do not let your ego, and especially your CRM, drive your initiatives. Now let's check this out together, because probably this is not your case, and I hope it's not your case, but if it is, probably something that you will need to revise. It's just a newsletter. Why would you ask for so many inputs? You don't need all those details because of your CRM. And the last thing is about timing. Timing is everything. Now think of a special occasion like the Black Friday, where everyone sends out a newsletter with wannabe exclusive offers. And the result is that those who sign up for, let's say, 100 newsletter forms will receive 100 newsletter messages, because these are the times where everyone sends out newsletter. And put differently, this individual will wake up one morning finding his inbox literally exploding with noisy messages that ultimately say the exact same things. Don't you think it's much more difficult to stand out from the competition in a context like this? And in the example that we just reverse engineered together, I came up with a very simple idea, a memorable, too good to be true monthly deal, or a flash sale, which can be, for example, just like a flash sale, something that opens sales for only 24 hours, so urgency, that offers only a very limited inventory, let's say 10 rooms, so scarcity, and that is going to be repeated every first Monday of the month. But the point is, whatever you decide is going to be your deal, your catch, is just going to be yours and yours only. Now, the very last final point, because the newsletter format can be either static or dynamic. I mean, static is where you place it, for example, close to the footer of your website, and therefore in your home page is always there. Or you can use a more dynamic way, which is, for example, an exit intent pop-up. An exit intent pop-up just does what the name says. They're trying to keep the visitors there when they are moving out of the website window, and therefore probably closing the page. And here we come to the conclusion with one last final thought, because please do not overcomplicate your hotel marketing. Yet don't claim it to be too easy. And think about it. If it's too easy everyone will do it, and therefore you would have more competition. The fact that A, you need to come up with an enticing and engaging newsletter, and B, with offers and specials that are relevant in the eyes of your prospects and customers, and C, with the consistency needed for you to deliver on the promises that you stated in your newsletter message. These three factors, since they require a lot of effort, will stop all of your competitors, or at least most of your competitors, from doing and from moving down this path. And so, in other words, let them play the easy game. Let them think that there are shortcuts, and you stand out by not having competition, because you are the one probably and hopefully that will go down this path. And this is, I think, probably the best competitive advantage that you can have. This is really it. Just one last thing, since I preach the exact same solution that I myself adopt, here it is. If you want to check my website, I also have this exact same newsletter template. Bye bye.